What a day. We start with the breaking news. Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, has abandoned plans to cancel local elections in May in yet another U-turn. Can you believe it? Instead, elections in 30 local authorities will now go ahead, reversing a previous decision to delay them until 2027. Well, we can now speak with Reform UK party leader Nigel Farage. Nigel, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Quite a huge victory for you at Reform UK.
Yeah, we're delighted. I mean, I was shocked last year when elections were cancelled. I mean, I get it, if you get a pandemic or foot and mouth disease, there are perhaps reasons why you might postpone elections in certain circumstances for a year. There were no good reasons for it happening last year. This year, the number of councils increased massively, including some all Tory-controlled, Norfolk, Suffolk, East and West Sussex, where for the second year in a row, elections were going to be cancelled. I was pretty shocked by this, and it's why we decided that we'd go to the High Court, we'd go for a judicial review. That was due to be heard this Thursday. The government obviously knew they were going to lose. The boss of the Electoral Commission said what they'd done was illegal. Clearly, the government's own lawyers believed they'd acted illegally, and so they caved in, and 4.6 million people, or should I say 4.6 million council taxpayers, because that to me is the key point, will now get the vote. So yes, it's a legal victory, it's a victory for our party, but above all, it's a victory for freedom and democracy.
Yeah, Nigel, will you be ready to fight these local elections? Many councils up and down the country, of course, weren't expecting them to be going ahead at all. Were you preparing to... Well, did you see victory and think, well, we better get ready a bit early?
Well, I think actually, to be honest with you, all the parties will be in a slight state of panic this afternoon, saying, cripes, we've got a lot to do in terms of finding candidates and getting organised. But look, we've got the biggest membership of any party in the country. We've professionalised significantly over the course of the last year. We will be ready for May the 7th in all 30 of these areas.
Nigel, of course, you being in government in some way or another, whether it be local councils or not, you then have to deliver for those local people. In some of your council areas, council tax has gone up. That's been a criticism aimed at your councils. Could this actually come back to bite you if those parties can turn around and say you can't deliver what you promise?
It's amazing, isn't it? I've never promised once in the run-up to May the 1st last year that we'd cut council tax. How could we? We were inheriting heavy debts absolutely everywhere. Have we made £300 million of savings? Yes. Have we got plans to become more efficient and save more in the years to come? Absolutely. And if you look at the council tax rises in areas that are run by Reform, they are lower than for the other parties in other areas. And look, you can't just come in to a broken local government system, wave a magic wand and change things overnight, but I believe we're off to a good start.
OK, Nigel Farage, I'd like to bring in Christopher Hope here, if that's all right with you. Christopher, over to you.
Are you looking to get into shape in 2026? If so, then you need the right soundtrack and the right earbuds to match. This video is sponsored by Raycon and their essential open earbuds. Well, unlike regular earbuds, these ones here sit just outside your ear canal, giving you clear sound. You can still hear what's happening in the world around you. Trust me, they're super light, secure and comfortable with no slipping or soreness thanks to the multi-angular hook and multi-point connection. And with 8 hours of playtime and 36 more with the charging case, it means I only need to charge them once a week. Switching between devices is instant and I can go from my phone to my laptop without missing a beat. And Raycon has over 3 million customers worldwide. Their sound quality is right up there with premium brands, but at a fraction of the price. Plus, there's a 30-day happiness guarantee. The essential open earbuds are here to help you crush your New Year's resolutions. Head to buyraycon.com/GB News Open for 15% off site-wide.
Nigel Farage, how many more candidates do you need to find now in order to deal with this? And what was the legal advice, you think, which the new advice the government got, which meant they folded today?
For us, it's another nearly 900 candidates that we have to find across those council areas and county areas, which for us is just not going to be a problem. On legal advice, look, our lawyers look very closely at the legislation, could find no good reason for why Steve Reid, at the behest of Keir Starmer, I suppose, decided to do this. The boss of the Electoral Commission said it was illegal. Clearly, the government's own lawyers said it was illegal. That's why they've withdrawn. They knew they were going to lose in the High Court. And that's why I'm saying, I think for the Minister, Steve Reid, I mean, frankly, is this not a resignation matter?
Mm-hmm. Well, you think he should go? You think it's time that Steve Reid walked this? I mean, they're spending money here, aren't they, on restoring democracy to these 30 council areas. You think it's a resigning matter?
Well, I think if a minister acts in a way that's illegal and tries to, cancel people's democratic rights to vote whilst they're still being charged their council tax, I personally think that it really is a resignation matter, yes.
Well, let's see how that plays out. A moment there, I think, for Steve Reid to look to his heart. But he was obviously taking advice, haven't he, in previous years under Angela Rayner as well.
Well, look, if you go back to 2021, when there were some local elections cancelled, well, the reason given was the pandemic, and in certain areas there was probably a degree of justification for it. Similarly, with foot and mouth disease 25 years ago, there are certain circumstances in which a delay of 1 year, can be acceptable. It wasn't acceptable last year, and it most certainly wasn't acceptable this year. And the level of collusion between the Labour government, the Conservative Party, and even the Liberal Democrats in Cheltenham showed you that parties were using postponing elections as a means of not losing their seats. That's something that clearly wasn't acceptable to us.
Yeah, Nigel, of course, Kemi Badenoch would refute those claims. She's, of course, come out before saying she didn't want to act like a dictator when it came to forcing her local councils to hold elections. What do you make of those comments?
I mean, if Kemi Badenoch doesn't want to be a dictator, the question really is she a leader? How can you stand up in the House of Commons, senior shadow minister after shadow minister, and say on behalf of the Conservatives it's wrong that elections should be cancelled, and yet 5, of your council areas, in some cases for the second year in a row, want to cancel those elections? Frankly, on this issue, the Conservatives are all over the place and every bit as bad as Labour.
Can you see a case, Nigel, that there could be a snap election as a result of decisions like this? We're on, the 15th, 16th U-turn. I can't keep up. I don't think the British public can keep up. The government seems to be embroiled in multiple scandals. We've got the Mandelson files waiting to be released. We've got Chagos boiling over in the background. Multiple other things going on top of that too. Are you preparing yourself for a snap general election?
I don't think a snap general election is likely. I guess the only thing that would cause it would be a financial meltdown on the bond markets. I don't see a snap election coming, but I do see a government that is losing authority and credibility right across the board.
Indeed. What about a change of Prime Minister imminently? Are you prepared for that too?
Oh, a change of Prime Minister's coming. Don't worry about that. My guess is, after he survived last week, they'll wait until May the 7th, wait for him to carry the can, get rid of him, and then move further to the left.
Is there a candidate in Labour's top brass that worries you the most? An Angela Rayner figure, perhaps? She's flaunted as this working class hero. Are you worried about Angela Rayner taking over the government, Nigel?
Well, my money would be on Ed Miliband, I think. They'll say he's got the experience. They'll say he's been there before. If you put me up against a wall, my guess would be it's Miliband that takes over and carries on with his net zero fantasy, which is making Britain poorer and deindustrialising us. That's my guess.
Indeed. Let me read out the thoughts of Zach Polansky here, of course, the Green Party leader. He said, "I'm pleased the government has done another U-turn, attempting to cancel elections on top of scrapping jury trials, mandatory ID cards, criminalising peaceful protest, and harassment of journalists is part of a disturbing authoritarian trend of this caretaker Prime Minister." Do you agree with him?
Well, I never thought I'd say it, but on those particular utterances, I do have a very similar position to Zach Polansky, if not on very much else.
Yeah, of course, Green Party doing relatively well in the polls right now. Is there something wrong with the establishment parties as a whole here, Nigel Farage? Because, of course, they're all slowly dropping in the polls, and yourself and the Green Party are polling relatively well at the moment.
Look, you know, since just after the First World War, in this country, it's been Tory v Labour, it's been two-party politics. That is now over, completely, totally over, and you won't see the like of it again.